All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome to week 6 live class. Today we'll be looking at tables and combinators. Now, if you've seen the the lesson videos, you must have gotten a little glimpse or idea of how to create tables in HTML. But today we're going to go deeper and try some other ways we can also explore to create tables in HTML. Tables in HTML are essential tool for organizing and presenting data. Now, in this lesson, we're going to look deeper in how to create tables and explore vertical tables, and also we look at co-span and the row span attributes. So, first, I have created a template here that we'll use for this lesson, just to catch up with time, because we're really not having much of that right now. So here I have the template. I have styled and created a table. On the table here, you will see that I have a T head. Now, creating tables in HTML, just like if the class lesson that you must have seen by now, we use the table elements, and in the table elements we also have the T head for our headings. Now, this is a basic way of creating tables, which most likely you mostly see when you have simple tables, when you need to create just simple tables. Now, we're also going to look at how to create complex tables as well. Now, we have a T head, and the T head is where you have most of your headings. You have your headings in the T head. Now, in the T head, we have a row. We use the TR element to initiate a row. So you can see here that there's nothing in these tables. So we're going to fill these tables so you can see it properly. But first, you need to understand that for each TR tag, it means that you have a row, which is the first row we have here, which is not so visible. But once I start imputing data in it, then we'll start seeing the table properly. But the TR tag initiates a row. Inside the TR tag is where we have the T head tags that also is going to signify our headings, because we are doing this in the T head tag. So we have the TH tags in the T head tags, but in a row. So wherever you see TR, you should have the understanding that this means we have a row, undermining if it's the heading or if it's the body. But you should note that wherever you see the TR, it means you're initiating a row. Now, you can differentiate between the rows by now imputing your data in the T head to signify that you are creating a heading for that row in the T head. So this is the basic way to do this, having it in the T head. So this just makes it simpler. Now we're going to put in data in this table to fill up the space. So here you can see I have my T head, which is going to hold our headings, and I also have the T body as well, which will hold the contents for the body in this table. So I have the first row for the heading in the T head. I have another row, like I said, where you see the TR, it's initiates a row. So I have the TR, which is the second row for the first body contents, and I use the TD for the to signify the body. This time we're not having a heading, so we're having the body. So we use TD for that. Now I have three cell blocks. So this is going to be our cells where we input data. Now I have 3 cell blocks here and 1 row. I also have the third row with more blocks. Now total I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows in this table. So let's start imputing data. So this is a basic table. This is the basic way of creating tables. Now I want to do something creative here. I want to also show us how to use combinators in HTML and CSS. Now, combinators are very important in when we want to style elements, special elements that have relations or they are relative to each other. So CSS, we're going to use CSS for that. So CSS combinators provide a powerful way to target elements based on their relationship with other elements in the HTML structure. Now, we'll just look at how to do that in the table. So this is also a way to show you that we can have different types of elements input in our table as well. So let's start with our heading. So I'm going to use this table to fill in some elements and descriptions that we'll use to understand how combinators work as well before we go into complex tables. So on the first row here, I'm going to have a heading, and since we're going to be illustrating how combinators work, my first heading here will be elements. Element selector. And for our next heading, we're going to have style applied. And we're also going to have examples of the combinators. All right, now let's go to the body and impute the data. So for the first element selector, I'm just going to fill in the space and then I'll explain the rest of it as I go. So just to meet up with time, I'm going to just fill up the spaces. So in this exercise, we're going to look at the different types of selectors. We have 4 types of selectors, and I'm going to make sure we see them with examples in the table. So for this cell, we're going to be, this means this is the style that I want to apply to the selector to see how it is, and then we're going to have the example. What the result would be a blue paragraph. Now this will make sense when we are done, but for now let me just fill up this cells with the informations. For our next row, we're going to have ordered list. And the style we're going to apply is the list style. And the example will be the list itself. So now this is also one way you can see that we can add several type of elements to our tables. Now here I'm going to use a list to illustrate this. So I'm going to create an unordered list. And give a list items in the list. So the first will be square, list item. I'm going to have another list, and it will be the same example for another square, but this will be 2 and this will be 1. Now, as you can see, we have a list in the TD, so we're going to have a list being displayed in this cell. Now, next row, we're going to have another example of a selector. This will be for H2. And the style we're going to apply here will be font weight. And the file will be bold. Now here the example will be we're going to create a heading to illustrate this example. So I'm going to have a H2 heading, a subheading called heading. And also we can also have a paragraph. Okay, that's not what I want. P tag. And this is going to be our paragraph. And the style we applied is going to make this paragraph bold. Okay, now for the last row, we're going to have another selector using H3 and the tilde sign. I'm going to explain these sectors, how they work using the CSS styles. In the first cell, in the second cell, sorry, we're going to have a style applied, a font style. And it's going to be italic. And then we're going to have paragraph. A H3 heading. Which is our subheading. This paragraph is going to be italic. Okay, so this is the context we'll be going to style. Now we have here different combinators. So combinators, like we said, there are ways we can use to select elements that has relationships. There are different types of relationships that we're going to use. And so for the first one here, we call this type of relationship descendant selector. Now we're going to style them one by one, so we'll see how they apply to each other. So you see what we have here in the table, since we have a basic table that we have already structured to make sure that the first row gives us the heading. So we have element selector as our first heading, first column. Second column is style applied. So these are the styles that we're going to apply to the selectors, to the elements we are going to select. Then the example, this will give us the results of the style that we apply to these elements. So I have practically created a table with headings and row and the body, and also we have content that we're going to use to illustrate how we use combinators, CSS combinators to style elements. So let's go to our style. Yeah, I've already created a style for the table. So refer back to your class lesson to understand how we create this style for the tables, just because of time. So I'm just going to skip. But for here, we have it that the table has a width of 60%. And the height is also, so it's adjusted according to the content that are in the cells. And also I have collapsed the borders. If I have not done this, then I would have a double line on the cell. So each line is for each cell. So it would have been doubled because I have styled the TH and the TD to have borders. So there would have been space between the TH and the TD. Now, to make sure there are no spaces, we use the border collapse. So you can refer back to the class lesson to get more understanding how this is done. But now let's focus on the combinators. Now, the first combinator we have here is the descendants selector. So this div, we're going to style the div. So say div, the space, and then the paragraph. So if you recall, when we were creating the contents in the table, we had created for the first row, after we created our heading, for the first row, we have created a div and a paragraph. So I think I missed that, and I'm going to correct this, since we need to style a div and a paragraph. All right, I have missed this. So we want to style a div and a paragraph, which means we need to have a div and a paragraph in this cell. So I'm going to put a div here. I wouldn't need a class. And in this div, I'm going to have a paragraph as well. So we can see how the descendant selector works. So I have a div and a paragraph inside the TD, which is this last cell of this table, of this row. So I'm going to take out this and have it illustrated here. All right. Okay, so now if we apply our style, I'm going to refresh this. Okay, if we apply our style using the descendant selector, we are going to have the style applied to the div and the paragraph. Now, how do we style using the descendant selector? First, we write the elements we want to style, which is the div that we created inside this cell block, and we also have a paragraph. Now, the descendant selector is just basically saying that the elements that goes after the next element that goes after the element itself. So it's going to look for, with this selector, it's going to look for any element that goes after any element P, since we've specified P as a descendant. So any descendants of this div that is a P element, that's what the selector is going to look for and apply the style to. So we say we are going to apply color text, the text color to the paragraph. So let's do that here in our styles. So we say color. Let's use the blue that we have specified in the table. So if I refresh this now, we're going to see that we have a div, but the style we applied, it's being applied to the paragraph. So we have this selector that's selecting the paragraph below that is a descendant of the div elements. So the paragraph is an element of its own, and it's selecting the paragraph as a descendant of the div elements. And the style we applied is blue text. And as you can see here, that we have the blue text applied to the paragraph. So this is just a way we can creatively select elements, whereby maybe in a case where we have different descendants below the div, and we want just only the P elements to be affected by the style. So we have done that successfully. Now let's look at the other selectors we have here. Now this selector is known as the child selector. The greater than sign between the elements signifies that this list is a child of the ordered list. So as we have it here, which we created in the second row, so this is the first row. Now we're on the second row, the TR tag and the cells. So this is the selector we want to look at. We want to select the child LI tag elements that are children of the UL elements. So here we are going to apply a style to show how it works, to show that we can select the child elements and apply styles to it successfully. So we're going to be using the list style tab to show that, which is the second cell. And then on the third cell here, we have the lists we created inside the cell block, which is an unordered list. So we want to style the LI items as using the child selector. So let's do that on the CSS. So we say we want the UL tag elements and the child elements LI to have a style, a list style tab to change the we're changing the marker here. So we use the list style type to be, and we say we want square. So we are selecting square. I'm going to save this and see that we have the list style marker changed to square. So we have successfully selected a child element from the unordered list elements. So this is also a way we can use to select elements that are children of a parent element, and we apply style to them specifically, avoiding other elements that are also around to not get affected. So we want only the child elements, which is what we have here. As you can see, we have the UL tag, and we also have the list, the LI elements. The UL elements is the parent, the LI elements is the child. So it's within the open and the close tag of the UL elements. So that's why it's the child of this parent element, and every other element around are not affected because they are not children of this UL element itself. Now let's go to the third one, which is called the adjacent sibling selector. So the adjacent sibling selector selects elements that is immediately preceded by a sibling element. So we use the example which we have created here to show that. So we want to apply a style which is the font weight. We want the font weight of the P elements to be bold. As you can see here, it's not bold yet, but we want to make sure that the P elements. Now, mind you, if we are using just the elements, and let's say we applied a blue color to the P tag only, like we did in this first place. Let's say we didn't use the selector, we just applied color blue to the text color blue to the P tag. This P element here, this paragraph would have been blue. So this is also an effective way to see that we have styles applied using the selector combinator, which is descendants. So because the P tag is a descendant of the div, it's being affected only and not the P element that is within this this row. All right, so let's apply our style now to the the H2 and P elements. So here we say we want the style to be font weight bold. So this is how we write the adjacent simply selector, which is the H2 we have there plus the P elements. And we're going to apply the style property of font weight. And it's going to be bold. Now this is how it's going to look. Now we have the paragraph displayed bold. See, it's not affecting the first paragraph, it's affecting just only the paragraph because we have used the adjacent selector. So the adjacent selector selects element that is immediately preceded by sibling elements, just like we have here. So we have the heading and we have the immediate paragraph that is preceded before the elements H2 itself. So that's why we use the H2 and the immediate elements that's preceded, which is the P tag element. So it looks for the immediate element P tag, the P element to style, to apply the style to. That's why we have it in bold. Now we're going to do for the last one, which is general simply selector. So the general simply selector selects all simpling elements that follow a specified element. So we'll use the style to see how this works and explain further. So we want the font style of this paragraph to be italic, not the heading. So it's, if you understand very well, you see that we are styling the elements after, not the one we list before. All right, so the general simply selector is written as this, a tilde sign that signifies the general simply selector, and we're styling the paragraph that is a sibling, so the H3. And the style here is going to be font style, and we want it to be italic. I save this, and the paragraph now is italic. So this is the selectors that we have to when we want to specifically style an element that is within or around other elements. So you can do this in different ways. You can explore to see different ways that this is effectively done. Now let's look at another table. This table would be focused on how we create vertical tables or complex tables in general. If you look at this first table, we have just this is a basic table where we have the T head and the T body. So now we want to create a complex table that does not have a specific head and a specific body. So you might come across this when you design your web pages and you have complex tables where you don't have everything arranged in this style like we have here, which is the heading, and then we have the body. So we want to have a complex table now. Now let's use another example and also we're also going to look at code group and code span in this example, and also going to look at how we can insert images or fonts. We're using fonts awesome, as though we're going to be using fonts awesome, so we can insert icons and different type of SVGs in our tables. So let's create a table for the second example, and in this table we want to have a caption to have further understanding of how we use captions. But I'm going to use the caption here for this table because we want it to make sense. So I'll use the caption elements, and the caption for this table would be, we're going to create an employee information table. And within this table, we want to have some styles in this table, and we want it to affect particular columns. So I'm just going to put the code group elements here, and then after we create the table, then we can style the table to see how it displays. So here I'm going to have the code group elements. Sorry. And within the code group, we have the code elements that is we're going to use to apply the styles to the columns on the table we're creating. So I want to have 3 code elements to apply to 3 columns on this table. So I'm going to specify 1 column, 1 column, 1 column. So 3 columns will be affected in this table. Now let's create our table. So first, we're not going to be using the T head. Since this is a complex table, we're just going to create rows and decide what should be in the rows. We can have headings, we can have a body cell in a row. So that's how we create complex tables. So we're going to just focus now on the rows. So first, we're going to create a row, and in this row, we want to have a heading. So we're going to have all our headings in this row. We can decide to have a heading and a body in this same row. So refer back to class lesson to see examples where that was done. But here, I want to show you how we can use the code group and also insert images. So now let's create a T head, and the first here will be name. Going to have another heading, and this will be for departments, and the last heading for status. Now let's have another row for more data that would be below these headings. Now, since we're not having headings anymore, we're going to have the contents that will be below these headings. So for the first column there, we have, remember this row is going to be for our columns because they are TH, which are headings like we have here. We have 3 headings just like this too as well. We have 3 headings. So this is the first column, second column, third column. We're going to see this being displayed, but let's just fill in the details first. Now the first row has these 3 headings, and now we want to have 3 more cells for the body. So the first one, TD, will be for the name of this first employee, which would be John Doe. And for the second row, we're going to have the departments, which John Doe's department would be marketing. And for the status, we'll say John Doe is active. So John Doe is still in duty. And we want to have another row. We use the TR to initiate this row. And let's have the contents. So this is for another employee. And this second row is for Jane Smith. And Jane Smith is in finance department. And Jane Smith is inactive. Okay, now let's have the last row. So we use our TR tag to initiate the row and TD for the third employee. So the third employee, or just because of time, let's just work with these two. So this is going to be for just this exercise. So we're going to use just these two for this illustration. So which means I'm going to take out one of this column. Okay, now first let's see how this table displays to see if we have any errors on this table. I want to create a space. So I have a div where I applied a style to give space, a margin of 100 px. So I want to put it between the tables so I can have space between the tables. Now it's displaying properly. So we have an employee with the caption with which we have used. As you can see, we have employee information. And the informations here we have a heading for the employees called name, and we also have the department as heading and status. So here now we want to look at how we can insert icons into this table. So, but we want to do this using Font Awesome. Now there are different ways we can insert Font Awesome icons in our tables. We can insert images too, just like I did for the first table where we have lists. You can have the image tag in your table as well. But here we want to use Font Awesome, so you can see different ways we can design our web pages. Now, Font Awesome is a website that holds different icons, SVGs. So there are lots of things we can get from Font Awesome. Now, there are different ways we can link Font Awesome to our web page. We can use the CDN. So let's see how that works first. I hope this time is enough. So we're going to use the CDN. So this will be faster. So to use the CDN, we are going to need network. So you can't work offline with this. But once it loads, you can see it reload anytime you want to see it on your page. Now, what we have here is we're going to get libraries of Font Awesome. So you just come to this cdnjs.com where you can get the CDN for Font Awesome. So I'm going to select the version which I want, which is refresh this. Alright, so now you come here after you select the version, come here and you copy the CDN. So I'm just going to check to be sure. Okay, so you copy this first one that says all main.css. I'm going to copy this, and to use it, we are going to use it as a link on our head area, just like we did in the class lesson, to link the downloaded Fonts Awesome resources, and we linked the path to the resource project. So here we're going to just paste this directly. So it has the link tag and everything you need. So all you just have to do is paste it on your page, and then we can go to Fonts Awesome. So go to fontsawesome.com, and we can select the icons we want to display in the table. So we'll go straight to icons. And we search for the icon we want. Now on our table we have a cell for the employees. So we want icons that would show us, give us, so readers can understand, even if they can't read the text. By the icon, they should be able to understand, okay, what is in this cell, and also for the rest cells as well. So I'm just going to give you an illustration for that before I come to the code span to design the specific style we want to apply to each of the columns. Okay, now first let's go back to Fonts Awesome, and I want to search for, so you can decide, just look for the name. You already know what this cell contains, so it's left for you to decide what do you want to play, the contents you have on your cell block. So yeah, I think I want to look for user. Too early, so I'm going to type user, wait for it to load. Okay, so since I'm using the free version, I want this one that is free. So I select on the user, and then you get the codes you need. So it's always and also you want to check if it's the HTML code or if it's for React or SVGs. So what I want here is the HTML. So all I do is click on this space, and the text, the codes are
Sorry, Edmond is having some technical issues. Let's hold on a bit.
Okay, I guessed as much.
Yeah.
The network today has been bad. I don't know.
It has seriously been bad.
I am so sorry. I apologize for this break. It was an unexpected network problem. But I'm sorry. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Let me share my screen so we can continue. So back to Front Awesome. I don't know exactly if I was if you guys could hear me the last part before I went off. So I was trying to illustrate how you can use Font Awesome icons without downloading the resources. I have linked it on the head area of my page using the link tag, since I copied it directly from the web. And also I have searched for the icon user into the cell which holds content for the employees, so it will display alongside with the name for that cell. So let's first of all, let's look at how this displays on our web page before we continue. Now you can see here on the page that we have the icon being displayed next to the name. So this now can help users to understand that if they can't read, they can understand that there is an icon here that signifies that this should be a user or signifies someone. So I could also see different icons on Fort Awesome that you can explore and use. So I'm just using this as a general icon for users in general. So let's look for more icons that we can use for departments. Well, I'm not going to take too much of time now, so I'll just use the icons that I have. Now it's the same icon you can easily copy, just like I did for the users from Font Awesome. So I'm going to copy this now. Okay, just checking to see if I'm online. All right, so I'm going to type in the and for the finance, I'm going to have, so Font Awesome uses the I tag, the I elements for their icons. So, and it also uses class as well. The class here would be class chats. So I'm going to say, let's save this place. Okay, yeah, so it's displays the chat. Now let's do this too for markets and sell, and then to first chat line. Okay, let's see how this display. Now we have chat line. So these are the same on the Fonts Awesome website. If you go and you search for chats, you're going to see this, and you search for when you search for chats, you're going to see different options, and you find this as the icons displayed as options. So we're going to use another one for active. I'm just pasting this here and the time. So the Fonts Awesome code for active is fast font check circle. Let's see if this works. Yes, it works. And then for inactive, I'm just going to copy this. So this will be times circle. All right, so you can see the icon. From the icons, you can tell what this Okay, can everyone hear me? So I want to style I just insert the I took the class for the Fonts Awesome, and I want to style it so we can change the. So let's change the color to green. So since we have the Fonts Awesome in a class, written in a class, and we want to style it, what we just have to do is take out the style the class, and once we apply the CSS property to the class, it's going to affect the icon itself, just like we have here. So you see we've changed the color of the font or some icon. So these are some ways we can use to style our tables, inserting images, and also the complex way of styling tables. Now I am just going to do a quick one to show us how we can use the code span. So I have already written the code here. Now I want to apply the style to the columns. So this first one is going to affect the first column, and what we want to display on this first column. So we're going to use the style property, and we want the background. We want the background color to be I'm going to use hexadecimal color for gray. So let's see if this is successful. Okay, so I missed something. Okay, so I'll change the color. Let's use a different color. And let's use here we go. Alright, so the previous color code wasn't correct. Now I have applied yellow to the first column. So you see how the code group works using the code and the span attributes. So the span now has made sure that the first column, we span the style we applied here to make sure it's on the first column only. So that's what the code is there for, and we specified one column. So if I do the same for the second column and specify the exact style, now not just backgrounds, we can to our columns. I'm going to change the color here to gray. So you can see now that we have colors applied. Now we can also change the color of each cell as well using the exact element, which is for the TH or TD, since they hold the cell blocks. So we can apply colors to the TD alone if we want a particular cell to have color, or you could add a class to it like we did to the font or some and apply the style to that class in that element that you have specified the class in. So if we put a class in any of the TD or TH, we can also do that as well, or we can just style the TH generally. So these are different ways we can use to style elements. You can use the selectors and decide which of the, let's say you want only a particular element in the TH, or you want to style the TRs. So you can use the selectors just like we have done here to decide which of them you want style being applied to. So because of time, I'm just going to quickly show you how you can collapse tables. You can collapse cells in a table. So we are going to join, we're going to combine a cell here. So let's choose, I would preferably create a new table so we can see this properly. This is a new table for that, and I'm going to copy this to quickly have a table. And I want my space to be displayed between them. All right, so for this table, Oh, I haven't copied this. All right, for this table, I'm going to take out this. All right, so I want to merge these tables. I'm going to have the names in them and the icon. So let's see. We're going to recreate this table. Now we have it being recreated, but without the style because we did not apply the core group style to it. So I want to merge these tables. Let's say we want to merge a column together. We want to merge the name and department together. So we're going to use the co-span for that. Now in the name th, we're going to specify that we want the column to merge with the next column, and I want to give the name and departments. So I'm going to take out this column since we're merging both of them together. So we're going to have just the name and department and status. So let's see how this plays on the page. So now because we have more cells below, so we are going to adjust that as well because we have merged two cells together, two columns, and we want to make sure that it's being displayed properly. So let's fix that. For that, we're going to have an extra column. Okay, so we're going to take out one of these columns to make sure that it's being displayed properly, so they are balanced. So which one are we going to take out from here? We're going to take out the active. We're going to take out marketing since it's for name and department. So I'll just put // in the name marketing. Then I'll take out the extra cell so the table will display properly. Something missing. And we're also going to do that for the last table, the last row, to make sure everything is balanced. Alright, let's see how this displays. Now we have successfully merged the first two columns together, which is name and departments, and we made sure that it has a corresponding cell to match up with the merge. So that's why we took out the extra cells to make sure that it's balanced. So you can also do this to merge rows as well. It's also similar. So you make sure that when you're merging, you make sure that the cells are corresponding with the amounts of cell blocks you have for the merged cells, just like we did here, which we merged the first two columns and we had extra cells because we have merged the first two columns. So in order to make sure that they are all balanced, we took out the extra cells and made sure that it's corresponding accordingly. All right, so if you have any question, you can ask. Sorry to take much of your time. Is there any questions? All right. So in absence of questions, you can always reach out to me on the class WhatsApp group, and this video will also be uploaded for those that are not able to attend as well. All right. I wish you all the best. Bye from
All
me.
right, thank you.